It's all set.
Thank you, Kelly. With that, I will go ahead and call the meeting to order. Good evening. Tonight is Thursday, March 4th, 2021, and this is the regular meeting of the Scarborough Board of Education. May I have the attendance, please?
Sure. Mrs. Giftis?
Yes.
Dr. Gill?
Yes.
Ms. Cazelonis?
Yes.
Ms. Layton?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom? She was here. Mrs. Seither?
Here.
Mrs. Turner?
Here.
Mr. Bennett?
Here.
And Ms. Giftis?
Here.
And just noticed, Shannon, are you back? Shannon, can you hear us? Looks
I
like,
can see Shannon, so I know she is here.
okay. We'll go ahead and do the pledge, and then we'll check back in and make sure that everyone's all connected. So please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
Yeah,
justice for
I
all.
don't know why I'm standing. My camera's off. The speakers aren't working.
We can hear you now, Shannon.
Oh, because they're muted. Thank you.
I don't know why they're muted. That's way too loud. Did you turn up the volume over there? Don't touch that. Touch it on the screen because you do that, you're gonna blow up the speaker.
I can't mute her. I don't have the authority. Okay. We are off to a really smooth start. Agenda item 4.0 is adjustments to the agenda. Are there any adjustments this evening? Seeing none. Agenda item 5.0 is public comment on agenda items. If you are in the audience and you would like to speak to something on the agenda, you can select your name under the list of attendees, and you should have the option to raise your hand. If you would like to raise your hand, please click that button and I will promote you to speak. As a reminder, each speaker is asked to speak to only those items that appear on the agenda. Additionally, please address your comments to me, the chair. And lastly, please be mindful of our 3-minute time constraint. In the past, before I take any public comment, I just wanted to say something about public comment, which is we created the BOE public comment email address when we first went down into pandemic mode and we were all figuring out technology all together, and we wanted to make sure that we were still accessible to people, but we never really framed the parameters around how that would work. And so last week was really the first time when we've kind of had a lot of people access that tool. And so this week, and I will reframe this again next week, I just want to let the board and the community know that public comment sent to us by email really needs to be received by the time I open public comment. And so anyone wishing to make public comment via email, please take into consideration that our meeting begins at 7 o'clock. And then also it was difficult because I was the reader to keep track of time. And so we Googled it, and roughly, 325 to 400 words is about 3 minutes. And so if you do plan on submitting a public comment via email, please be mindful of the time limit as well. So with all of that said, I'm not seeing any hands raised for public comment. So I will go ahead and close public comment for this evening. Agenda item 6.0 is superintendent's report. Sandy, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, April. So March enrollment, I'd like to show you the chart on that and walk you through it. And there we go. So the high school, currently we have 948 students. A year ago, we had 988. Currently, we have 8 homeschoolers. We have 220 100% remote and 728 who are in the hybrid mode. If we look at the middle school, currently we have 704 students. A year ago, 701. We have 21 homeschoolers and 137 100% remote and 567 hybrid. If we go to Wentworth School, currently we have 615. A year ago, we had 671. We have 19 homeschoolers, 82 100% remote, and 533 who are in the hybrid mode. If we look at Blue Point, we currently have 198. A year ago, 205 students. If we look at all 3 K2 elementary schools, we have 33 students who are homeschooled. We have at Blue Point 37 who are 100% remote, and we have 161 hybrid. If we go to 8 Corners, we have 225 currently. A year ago, we had 243 students. As we look at the 100% remote at 8 Corners, we have 52 students and 173 hybrid. As we look at Pleasant Hill, we have currently 185 students. A year ago, 205. We have 35 100% remote, and we have 150 in the hybrid mode. Totally, we add all these up. Currently, we have 2,875. A year ago, 3,013. Currently have 81 homeschool students. We have 563 students who are in the 100% remote mode, and we have 2,312 total in the hybrid. I'm sorry, in the total population. Wait. No, hybrid. Yes. 2,312 in the hybrid mode. I think that's it.
Perfect. Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
Agenda item 7.0 is the chair's report. Can you advance the slide deck, Kelly? Thank you. So for my chair's report this evening, we have a familiar topic. I feel like this is one of the only things I get to update you guys about these days, but it is, you know, the most important work we do as a board, and we are really getting ready to kick off our search here. And so I wanted to provide everyone with an update of timeline and important dates that are coming up. On Monday the 1st, the interview committee application and the superintendent search survey both closed. The results of the superintendent search survey will be sent to DD&M, and they will break down the data that we got from the survey and use it to guide the interview committee as they select the questions that we will be asking our potential candidates. The superintendent survey had 122 responses. The interview committee application had a total of 53 applicants, and I'll go into the breakdown of those applicants on the next slide. But in terms of turnout, you know, that's a lot of people who were willing to volunteer their time to help us. So we were really excited by the reception of that application. Tomorrow, March 5th, the superintendent application itself closes. Until that application closes, I can't say anything about the number of candidates or much about the search. I will say that next week, the school board will need to arrange to have access to the packets for all of the candidates so that the school board can score all of the applications that we received. And in order to do that, each of us needs to sign a non-disclosure agreement. I have asked Diane and we're working with Cheryl to see if we can sign that electronically. Otherwise, we just need to pop by central office before we're able to access those application packets. So next week, between 3:08 and 3:12, the school board members will be scoring those packets. To be determined is a board executive session so that we can get together and discuss which applicants we would like to send to the interview committee. We are getting legal to let us know whether or not that executive session is authorized. If it is not authorized, then everyone will be sending their finalized score sheets to the superintendent search steering committee. And we will be able to have a closed door meeting to compile the score sheets. I will let you know as soon as I know in terms of whether or not we're going to be able to have that executive session. On 3/15, DDM is hosting a training session for the interview committee. At this point, they are encouraging the school board to also attend that training. And so please, if you would like to mark that down on your calendar, I will get Kelly to add us to the invite list after tonight once we've chosen the interview committee. If we decide as a board that we would rather have our own training or a training that's separate from the training that the full interview committee gets, then DD&M said that that's not a problem, and they can certainly host a training more specific to our interview if we wanted to have a separate one. Next slide, please. And does anybody have any questions about the timeline? Okay. The interview committee application, like I said, received 53 total applicants, 2 Wentworth staff, 2 middle school staff, 4 high school staff, 9 community members, 4 administrators, 2 central office administrators, 9 K2 parents, 14 312 parents, and 7 students. And as you can see, I've broken out the K2 parents separate from the other parent group. And the reason that I've done that is because unfortunately, we did not have any K2 staff apply to the committee. One of the guiding principles that the full board had conveyed to the steering committee was that we really wanted to have phase level representation if at all possible. And so the recommendation of the steering committee to the full board tonight is that we select from a group of K2 parents specifically in order to ensure that we have that K2 representation. And so what you will see below in the second table is the superintendent search steering committee's recommendation for you this evening in terms of committee composition. We also tried to use our guiding principle that to keep the committee small. And again, just to have a broad base of representation across all phase levels. So our recommendation is as follows: 1 Wentworth staff, 1 middle school staff, 1 high school staff, 2 community members, 2 board members, 1 administrator, 1 central office administrator, 1 K2 parent, 2 312 parents, and 1 student. Does anyone have any questions? We can discuss the committee makeup itself under new business. If people have questions or more specific details that they would like me to provide them, I'd be happy to do that. And it is an action item for us this evening. Sarah.
Can you just remind me what we had for the last committee in terms of numbers? I think it was like 16. Is that right, Nick or April?
The total committee, I think, ended up being 18.
8. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay. We can move on. Agenda item 8.0 is committee reports.
All right. Our next meeting is Monday, March 8th at 11 a.m. We also that afternoon have a joint communication meeting with Town Council on the 8th, starting at 4 o'clock. And this is really just to lay out our plans for how we want to talk about the budget communication, how to increase readership and our outreach as the two bodies. So more to come on that. And as always, just keep looking for updates in the district newsletter and our town newsletter.
All right, so we had a pretty lengthy, but I think productive finance committee meeting today. And it was really just a preview of the workshops that are going to happen next week. So we are really getting into the throes now of budget season, guys. So buckle up. But I wanted to share with everybody what the town council approved goals are for first reading. So if you remember in the past, we've had varying degrees of goals for first reading. Sometimes they were like a couple years ago, it was a mill rate target. Last year, it was a net budget increase target. And this year, you can see that the goals are a little bit more relaxed. Ultimately, the end goal is still to have a 3% or less mill rate at the end when the budget goes to referendum, when the budgets are final. But this year, the guidance from both the finance committee, but the school board finance committee, but also the town council finance committee is kind of just tell us what you need, do it within reason. Let's not, ask for the moon. Let's still recognize sort of the economic situation that we're in, but present what you need. And then also provide a little bit more information. So, we all know that there were things that had to be removed from the budget last year because of the pandemic and because we had to make unexpected cuts in order to free up resources for unexpected items, right? And so they're really, I think, taking a really conscious and intentional look at what did we lose and what was deferred from last year that we want to try and bring back. And then also take a look at what are the things that, we needed this year because of COVID that we're going to continue to need for next year and maybe even beyond that. So there's no real number target. But I think that, given the preview that we had earlier and what you guys will see next week, I think we're going to come in at a very reasonable amount. And it'll be a good starting point, at least for first reading. Any questions on the goals? Cool. So, Kelly, if you don't mind moving to the next slide. This is just a reminder of the workshops that we have next week. You guys should all have these invites in your calendar. Tomorrow, I'm going to be sending out a summary email with links to everything that we reviewed in our meeting today. The budget material is being worked on kind of over the weekend, and it's going to be worked on, I think, right up until our workshop. So I think the intention is to provide that material to us by Monday. But given that's not a lot of time before the first workshop, I figured at least you guys could have the opportunity to review what we saw today. And I'll try and call out some highlights so you don't have to go through all the information. But I'm also going to be sending this to town council and inviting them to listen in if they want as well. That's it.
Great. Thank you, Sarah.
All right. So I don't have a whole lot new to report here, but I did want to give everyone an update. So as you probably recall from our previous conversations through January and basically all of February, we did some more casual asks of the Scarborough Education Association to meet and start the process of working on our education support professionals contract. On the 26th, we sent out our official request, which gives them 10 days to respond to us and get that ball moving and schedule some meetings. And so We're excited to keep that moving forward. Time is obviously a factor at this point. We remain committed on the board team, as I know all the board members do, to doing everything we can from our side of the table to make sure we have some contracts in the hands of our employees on or before the time their current contracts expire. So that hasn't changed. I just wanted to let everyone know that we had set the official legalese, if you will, request to bargain on the 26th.
Thank you, Nick.
For long range facilities, I spoke to Andrew last week, who I think you all know is the chair of the building steering committee. It's been just about a year since that committee met. So it was really helpful to sort of dust things off with Andrew, and he is going to be reaching out to some of the members of the committee to check on their availability to reconvene that committee in some capacity. It sort of seems like site selection's the next logical step for us, but the hope is that when that committee reconvenes, they will have a formal recommendation for the board regarding next steps, along with solidifying the firm selection. And once that's done and the board has approved it, we can authorize Sandy to enter into a contract and then sort of hammer out the details on the scope of work and the costs associated with that. In long range planning, we have our next meeting on the 16th, where we'll continue to talk about the combined school and the building steering committee, and we'll also review the CIP portion of the budget.
Thanks, Kristen.
The Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee met yesterday for the first time. It was a great first meeting. A lot of team building activities went on, but we did have an opportunity to discuss the recording or the live streaming of meetings at our meeting. And the consensus of the committee at this time is not to record or to live stream the meetings, but as we get closer to a point of discussing the data that MAEC has collected, the committee wants to revisit the issue and potentially consider live streaming those specific meetings. Our next meeting is going to be in 2 weeks on the 17th.
Thank you, Shannon. Liaison updates. Sarah, you're up first.
I don't have much. I talked to John yesterday. I already gave Kristen an update that they have a growth ordinance workshop coming up, so I gave her the heads up on that if she wants to attend as a chair of long range planning. And then they're getting ready to send out the latest draft of the comprehensive plan. So when that's done, they'll send it to us just so we can go through and double check everything that was related to the school and make sure that we're happy with it. That's it.
Thanks, Sarah. Vocational is me. We just had our monthly meeting last week. The report from both Portland and Westbrook is that in-person participation is great, and the remote learning continues to be a challenge, much like it is, for a lot of our kids who are hybrid. Both enrollment and prospective site visits are also down at both of the tech centers. Again, not necessarily unexpected, given that all of the sending schools have a different schedule this year, given the challenges with transportation that we've had this year. And it's just been really hard for everyone to coordinate, the right level of being at their sending school and then also, being able to access their education at the tech schools. So it wasn't an altogether cheery meeting. That being said, there's a lot of optimism at the tech schools. They're always expanding their programs. The amount of certifications that they are able to offer their students is always increasing. We've added a student rep to the board, and she just came in with all of this exuberant energy, and is just so grateful for her experience there. So I really look forward to her being on the committee and bringing us the student perspective. Neither Westbrook or Portland indicated that they were in a position to offer more in-person time because all of their sending schools have such different schedules right now. But again, they're being flexible as they can be, and we're all hopeful that a return to in-person is in the not too distant future. Legislative update. I'm sure, as the world was abuzz, the education world was abuzz yesterday, as Governor Mills announced that Maine will make pre-K 12 school staff eligible for the vaccine regardless of age. And the school board was copied on the letter that went out from HR to all of our staff yesterday, giving them instructions for how to access appointments. And so again, the things change all the time. We I think all felt a little deflated after we passed, we ironed out our resolution last Thursday, and then Governor Mills announced on Friday morning that it was going to be age brackets. And I think, there was a fair amount of like deep sighing. And then, here we are a week later, and there's been a total shift in the way they're going to proceed. And so, everything is still uncertain now, but it's certainly a step in the right direction in terms of the board's wishes to have our teachers vaccinated. And that will do me for legislative. Agenda item 9.0, student representative reports.
Awesome, thank you. So this past weekend, the Oak Hill Players at the high school, they streamed their pre-recorded virtual musical, which we called High School Zoomsicle. And to viewers across the country, I was talking with my director about people that had been watching. I knew a girl from Seattle who watched. She knew a woman from Arizona who watched. So really went to all four corners. The show was a great success and the audience raved. And there was also a feature about it in the Portland Press Herald, which they did quote me on the front page, but that's cool. Being that I was in it, and this was like my 6th and final musical with Oak Hill Players, like at the high school, it was like emotional. Like I cried a couple times, but I was just really grateful that we got the chance to do something. Because altered theater is better than no theater. So yeah, like admin, thank you so much for like all of your help. It was great. Yeah, that's it for that. So we can go on to the next slide. So this is for the middle school. On Monday, March 5th, there will be an 8th grade step-up night, and families will be able to virtually meet with high school administrators to talk about high school. Also starting next week, there's going to be spring conferences. And then finally, the Student Advocacy Center at the middle school is pursuing the theme of friendship. And since like in middle school, it's especially hard to navigate relationships with your peers and teachers, they thought they would provide them some resources to look at. And there are 10 resources they can access through the newsletter. So that is everything for me. So I will toss it over to Gabby.
So last week was the 100th day at school, and kids at 8 Corners celebrated. This is cohort B group, and they dressed up as 100-year-olds. Teachers decorated the classrooms, and they made crowns. You can see in the bottom left corner that say 100 Days Smarter. And then on Monday, the cohort A students celebrated their 101st day of school. And next slide. Also at 8 Corners this week, they are participating in Read Across America. So this week focuses on reading and inclusion, and each day has a theme to it. So Monday's theme was celebrating that reading is amazing and so are you. Tuesday's theme is reading is for sharing. Wednesday's theme, reading is relaxing. Today's theme was reading is active, and tomorrow's theme is reading gives superpowers. And so on each day, there are attached free ebooks that the students can read that revolve around the theme for the day. That's all I have.
Thank you, Gabby and Max. Agenda item 10.0 is new business. Agenda item 10.1 is superintendent interview committee. Under new business 10.1, we need to have two distinct votes tonight. The first will be to approve the committee composition, and the second vote will be to approve the selected committee once we've gone through that process. And so the first thing that we need to do is approve the committee composition. And so do I have a motion to approve the committee composition as presented?
So moved.
Second.
And now discussion. Is there anybody who wants me to have Kelly pull up the committee composition from the chair's report? Yeah. Could you do that for me, Kelly? Thank you. Or Diane, sorry. I shouldn't assume who's driving. There we go. Oh, no, that's one too far. Oh, is that right? No, yeah, that's one too far. I mean, we need to go back one more, sorry. Oh, no,
That was right.
that was right. You had it.
All set?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so the committee as presented is 1 Wentworth staff, 1 middle school staff, 1 high school staff, 2 community members, 2 board members, 1 administrator, 1 central office administrator, 1 K-2 parent, 2 312 parents, and 1 student, for a total of 13 representatives on the interview committee. Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, are we ready to vote? Okay.
Sure. Mrs. Giftis?
Yes.
Dr. Gill?
Yes.
Ms. Castellanos?
Yes.
Ms. Layton?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom?
Yes.
Mrs. Seither?
Yes.
Mrs. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
And Ms. Giftis?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you all very much. Okay, agenda item 10.1 continued will be to approve the individuals that we need to select now who will fulfill each one of those categories. We talked about this as a steering committee, how to do this in an age of technology when we can't just be together and pull from a paper hat, pull the papers from a hat. We thought it would be really fun to make a spinner and, have the names going around. And then I tried to make it work today. And I was just so afraid that the more technology we tried to introduce into this, the more we were just asking for something to go colossally wrong. And so what I've done is I created a spreadsheet for the entire committee. And within each category, I've assigned each person a number. Leanne, Alicia, myself, Diane, all have a copy of that spreadsheet. If you would like to follow along, a copy of that spreadsheet is available in our share drive under superintendent search materials for 2021. So by assigning each person a number, it allows us to use a random number generator, and I will generate the number and do my best to show it to you so that everyone can see it. And I will call out the number, and Leanne will give us the corresponding name for each category. Alicia, I see your hand is up.
Thank you. I can't remember because I was part of the subcommittee for making the recommendation that we choose it randomly. And I know that that was your recommendation at the last board meeting, and we had a discussion about it. But that meeting was so long that I can't remember if we voted on that or if that was a consensus and that we're ready to move forward on this point. And I guess I just wanted to clarify that, if you don't mind.
Sure, absolutely. It was not something that we voted on. And it was definitely just a consensus recommendation after I kind of made the initial recommendation. So if, by all means, if there's, an alternate suggestion for how we should proceed, that's certainly something we can discuss right now before we move forward.
Thank you.
Sarah, your hand's up.
My comment was unrelated, so if someone has a response to that, they can.
I obviously support the recommendation of the subcommittee that came up with the recommendation. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't bypass that.
Good. Thank you for checking. I appreciate it. Go ahead, Sarah.
Cool. Just a point of like process. Are you just gonna do the numbers and then like when that category is filled, like if the next person that's drawn is from that same category, then you just kind of toss that away and go on to the next?
Open.
Yeah.
The sheet has 2 tabs. So if you go to the second tab, I've assigned everyone a
Okay.
number within their category. And the reason that first tab exists is because we're going to draw our alternates from the general pool. And so everyone kind of everyone was assigned 2 numbers. Everyone was assigned a general pool number for when we select alternates. And then also everyone was also assigned a category specific number.
Cool. That was my second question on alternates. So thank you.
All right. I was hoping that it wasn't going to be, the glare wasn't going to be too bad. Can you guys even see? We can try and do a share screen. I don't know. I mean, obviously I don't have the spreadsheet open. I don't have the names memorized. Like I can call out the random number. I don't really have a better way. What do you guys think?
I trust you, April. I don't think my mind would be blown if you were trying to stack the deck.
Okay.
All right. Do you want to just do, I mean, there's got to be an online like random number generator, right? That we could pull up.
I'm on random.org on my phone.
Sounds like a bad idea to be on that website.
And the reason I liked random.org is because when you click the generate button, it shows like a little spinning wheel and then pops the number up, because some of the other number generators that I previewed before tonight, if you select the same number more than once, it's not obvious that it's changing. And so I previewed several today, and random.org was the one that I thought was the best. Okay. So Leanne, I'm going to have you kind of guide me through so that, again, I don't have the spreadsheet open. And so if you can call out the category and let me know the number, I will input the max and the min, and then I will tell you the random number that gets generated.
Okay, we're starting with the K2 parents, and
Okay.
there are 9.
Right. Min 1, max 9, hitting generate 3.
Oops. Hold on, let me put this in the sheet so we don't lose that. Oh, wait, what did I just do? Number 3, Sarah Mullen.
Okay. Congratulations, Sarah. Next one.
Wentworth staff, there's 2.
Okay. 1.
Lori Alves. And I'm going to apologize in advance if I mess up anybody's names. I am so sorry. Middle school staff is 2.
Okay. Min 1, max 2, generate 2.
Amy Johnston. High school staff, we have 4.
Min 1, max 4, generate 1.
Jen Adams. Administration, we have 4.
Okay, min 1, max 4, generate 3.
Sue Catch. CO administration, we have 2.
Min 1, max 2, hitting generate 1.
Allison Marchese. Community, we have two. Oh, wait, sorry, hold on. Community, we're going to call 2 numbers, and we have 9 people.
Okay. Min 1, max 9. Generate 9. Generate 1.
Okay, number 9 is Patricia Brigham, and number 1 is Amy Glidden. Students, we have 7.
7. You guys are amazing. 7 students applied. Generate 3.
Aiden Bristol. And, oh, wait, hold on. Oh, 3-2 parent, the parents for grades 3 through 12. There's 14.
Okay. Min 1, max 14. Generate 14.
Hold on, I'm looking for my list. Julie Muller.
And 11.
Kathy Ducey. And then that leaves us with board members.
Okay. So, you know, I was going to write something down because this is challenging. But I'll just speak to you plainly because that's me. You know, this is an amazing board to work with, and we never have a shortage of people who are willing to donate their time and their expertise. And with that said, nearly everyone wanted these coveted spots on the interview committee. And so I was left trying to identify what exactly the criteria should be in terms of who I should appoint. And that is the precedent, is for the chair to appoint the board representation. And I know that, you know, just like with the committee members, thank you again to all of the individuals who applied. I'm sure that there are some disappointed folks. Oh, am I unstable? Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Can hear you.
We can, we just can't. You're frozen.
Unstable. Okay. Am I unfrozen, refrozen? Am I good now?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Of course, I'm, trying to say something heartfelt here and I got interrupted. And so with that, there's trying to identify the criteria to select among my peers is really challenging. And so what I decided to do was stay with the individuals who have put in the work to get the search to where we are right now. And so my recommendation, based on experience, is to appoint Alicia. She was on our hiring committee in years past, and to appoint Leanne, again, for her hard work and her experience. And also both of these individuals will be on the board for years to come, and they will be here to guide and to counsel and to grow with our new superintendent. And so with that, my recommendation is to appoint Leanne Caselonis and Alicia Giftis as our board representation on the interview committee. And so now I believe, do I have a motion to approve the superintendent search hiring committee as selected?
One question, did you need to choose alternates?
Oh, thank you,
yes.
Diane. I would like to choose alternates. So
Thank
we
you.
will go back to that. Thank you very much. Let me get out my number generator here. Min 1, max 53, Leanne. Is that correct?
53.
Okay. And we agreed as a steering committee that 3 alternates seem appropriate from the entire pool. So min 1, max 53, generate 29.
Stacy Newman,
Generate 25.
William Partridge,
Generate 2.
Crystal Ash Cuthbert.
Great. Thank you, Diane, for the reminder. Now, do I have a motion to approve the superintendent interview committee as selected?
So moved.
Second,
Discussion? Hey, Diane, I think we are ready to vote.
Great. Mrs. Giftis,
Yes.
Dr. Gill,
Yes.
Ms. Cazelonis,
yes.
Ms. Layton,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Mrs. Seither,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Bennett,
Yes.
and Ms. Giftis.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Agenda item 10.2 is student representative committee assignments. I would like to offer Max and Gabby my sincere apology that this did not make it on a prior agenda. This was something we talked about at retreat, and it just kept getting kicked down the list. And so I am very excited to have this on the agenda tonight so that you are able to officially join our committees. I did ask both students for their top 2 preferences, and I spoke with the chairs of those committees to make sure that scheduling was not going to be an obstacle that we couldn't overcome. And the chairs were enthusiastic about having the students on their committee. And so with that, I would like to make a motion to appoint Max Bennett to the curriculum committee and Gabby Giftis to the communications committee. Do I have a
So moved.
second?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote.
Sure. Mrs. Giftis,
Yes.
Dr. Gill,
Yes.
Ms. Cazelonis,
Yes, and welcome, Gabby.
Ms. Layton,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes, and welcome, Gabby.
Mrs. Seither,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Bennett,
Yes.
and Ms. Giftis.
Yes, and thank you.
Thank you, guys. I'm excited to have your perspective at the committee level. I think that's going to be really good for the board. So thank you. Agenda item 10.3 is second reading of policy JLCB, immunization of students. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Discussion?
I'm going to actually make a motion to table this policy. We did want to add in an effective date. And I think that because the law doesn't, oops, I should just say, I moved to table, I guess. But, well, can I explain it now?
Let's move to table and then vote on tabling.
Okay.
You know, we have to have a motion to table, and then you need a second, and then we can discuss why, and then we'll
Okay.
vote.
So I moved.
second a second time.
Okay, all right, so we're all set. Alicia, go ahead.
Thank you. So I'm asking to table this tonight because we did discuss in policy. It's difficult doing policy work virtually. I complain about it every meeting. It's just, I won't get into bore you with the details, but we did want to put an effective date that matched the statute, which was September 1st. We also wanted to, I think I told you last time, to try to pass this policy amendment before the statute was effective so that the school nurses could start working on notifying the families that are going to be impacted by the policy and statutory changes that they need to get those immunizations taken care of and talk to them about their options. But the only change related to the date was, that was put in there was talking about, I think, the grandfathering of students who received IEPs. And so I'd like to add that language in and talk about it with the committee about how we're going to handle that. So I'm asking to table it for that reason.
Okay, any other further discussion? Okay, I would like to vote on Alicia's motion to table, please.
Sure. Mrs. Giftis,
Yes.
Dr. Gill,
Yes.
Ms. Katsalonis,
Yes.
Ms. Layton,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Mrs. Seither,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Bennett,
Yes.
and Ms. Giftis.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Agenda item 10.4 is second reading of policy JLCC, communicable infectious diseases. Do I have a motion to approve as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none? Diane?
Mrs. Giftis,
Yes.
Dr. Gill,
Yes.
Ms. Katsalonis,
Yes.
Ms. Layton,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Mrs. Seither,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Bennett,
Yes.
and Ms. Giftis.
Yes.
Excellent. Second reading of that policy passes. Agenda item 10.5 is second reading of policy DJE, our bidding and purchasing requirements. Do I have a motion to approve as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none?
Mrs. Giftis,
Yes.
Dr. Gill,
Yes.
Ms. Katsalonis,
Yes.
Ms. Layton,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Mrs. Seither,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Bennett,
Yes.
and Ms. Giftis.
Yes.
Great. Agenda item 10.6 is approval of a donation from Saco and Biddeford Savings Institution. And I'm actually going to request that Sandy speak to this. I know that he recently met with the folks from Saco Biddeford, so. You're muted, Sandy. Sandy, you're muted.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it was great. We had two representatives from Saco and Biddeford Savings come to the office, and they have graciously dropped off a check for $1,168.64. And these people are very enthusiastic, very supportive of knowing that the students will benefit from this as a school system. And again, I just was delighted to see that the president and CEO provided a letter, and we're just very gracious to receive this donation. So thank you, Saco and Biddeford Savings.
Thank you, Sandy. Do I have a motion to accept the donation?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none?
Mrs. Giftis,
Yes.
Dr. Gill,
Yes.
Ms. Katsalonis,
Yes.
Ms. Layton,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Mrs. Seither,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Bennett,
Yes.
and Ms. Giftis.
Yes.
Excellent, thank you. Agenda item 10.7 are the meeting minutes of February 4th. Do I have a motion to approve as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Kelly always does such a fantastic job for us in terms of getting us all our materials. She did apologize that this most recent set of minutes came in a little bit later than she would have liked. So if there is anyone who would like more time to review the minutes, I'm happy to table them. That being said, I did take time today. I had time to review them and I did not see anything that would need to be amended. So I feel confident that the minutes are all set. Okay, I think we're ready, Diane.
Mrs. Giftis,
Yes.
Dr. Gill,
Yes.
Ms. Castellanos,
Yes.
Ms. Layton,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Mrs. Seither,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Bennett,
Yes.
and Ms. Giftis.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Agenda item 11.0 is adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. I think we're ready. Thank you, Diane.
Mrs. Giftis,
Yes.
Dr. Gill,
Yes.
Ms. Castellanos,
Yes.
Ms. Layton,
Yes.
Mrs. Lindstrom,
Yes.
Mrs. Seither,
Yes.
Mrs. Turner,
Yes.
Mr. Bennett,
Yes.
and Ms. Giftis.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.